can we get our therapist on here?
Why?
We got to do more couples therapy, but I want our couples therapist.
Stop picking your nose and throwing it in my studio. It's disgusting. Don't do that. You just went like this. In my studio.
Okay.
This is not your room. This is my room.
Next caller. And by the way, I want to say this. We are in couples therapy.
Yeah, we are. We just started. We've had one visit.
We've had one visit. And you know why we're in couples therapy?
Do you know why we're in couples therapy?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
So I can show you that I'm right.
Case in point.
I asked, can we do couples therapy when we weren't even fighting?
Yes.
We weren't even fighting. And I
you also asked when we were fighting.
I did.
Yes.
I did, yeah. I said we should do couples therapy. I don't think we know how to communicate.
So you're not quite as noble as that.
I'm not sure I like you in couples therapy.
You know, I asked at the most noble time when we were not fighting. You had also asked when we were fighting. And I asked when we were fighting too. But you did also, in addition to that, ask when we were not fighting.
I just want everyone to know we're in a good place.
Yes, we're awesome.
We're in a good relationship.
And our therapist at the end of it said, you guys have a great relationship. You're a great couple.
Yeah.
And if he would just stop thinking he's right about everything.
Are we doing this? Because I can say real things that she said where I took
We're not going to do that. That is not fair to you or me. Because if you do it to me and then I eventually do it to you, we both know who of the two of us is the more sensitive. So if you're going to dish it out, you got to take it. And I have a feeling at a certain point, you would not take it well.
All right, first caller.
Hey, LeeAnn. Found your podcast. Absolutely love it. Actually ended up listening to it more than Bertcast for sure. Although I love both. Both of you guys are amazing. So my question is how to deal with, I have an on and off again, special lady friend, who, we both have very, very demanding careers. So, things will fizz out every once in a while. We always find our way back to each other. She is a single mom of two crazy boys. It's the question I have is how to best, be available to her and be understanding of her life again as a single parent, but be more involved, into her life, into the boys' lives, and just kind of being as I don't have kids, so like having that family dynamic. So for something I've had, I guess just being a good partner to her, but still keeping engaged in the relationship. All right, thanks.
Okay. So the first thing I would say is you have to let her tell you how involved she wants you to be in her kid's life, right? Because it's her kid. And with dating people, I know I had lots of stepmoms and dads. And sometimes for me as the kid in that situation, it sounds like you've been on and on again and off again for a while, so this may not completely apply. But if you're a couple too fast, it's confusing for a kid, right? So I would let her tell you what to do with the kids, to be respectful of, if you're on again, off again, I don't know how old our kids are, that might be confusing. I would have been really confused. I know my mom had a little on again, off again with one guy, and I got really confused because you want to protect your mom or your dad, and if the boyfriend or girlfriend is in and out, you don't know what you're supposed to be doing as a kid. You don't know, do I like this guy or do I not like this guy? Am I supposed to be like he's like my stepdad or not? So I would let her tell you how involved you should be in that. As far as you guys get busy and then you come back together and you get busy and you come back together. I don't know. I have questions about that. Is it good when you come back together? Is it easy? Is it effortless? Do you pick off right where you left off? Or is it awkward? Is it difficult? Because if it's easy and you pick up right where you left off, then that's probably a good indicator that you're a good match for each other. You're just busy in your life. And if that's the case, then I think you could have a simple conversation with her and just say, I like this a lot. How do we go to the next step? Or are you interested in the next step? I don't know. I think that's kind of what I would do. What do you think, Bert?
My take is I'm the wrong guy to ask.
Why?
Because I would have probably I would have been all in or all out right away.
Yes.
With kids. I'm either like, no, not for me, because I don't want to date someone who has kids, or I would have fallen in love with the kids and been like, I'm all in. You know who I'm like? I'm like, I don't know, I shouldn't say any names, but like, I would get attached very easily.
Mm-hmm.
I would get attached very easily, and then that kid would be a part of the reason I wouldn't leave the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I would have known that, and I would have said, I'm not getting involved because that kid is going to be the reason I don't leave this relationship, and I'm going to be in a relationship forever that I don't want to leave because of my commitment to a child.
Or the reason you do leave the relationship. You know, if you don't get along with the kid, you're probably not going to stick around.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to deal with her where the kid's concerned.
Right. It's also matters how old that kid is, because you definitely don't want to fuck with a kid's head.
Well, I'll tell you this. I had an amazing stepmom. Jan was an amazing stepmom. And one of the reasons she was amazing is that oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Peter.
Oh, thank you. Hey, what's all that noise outside?
I don't know.
Helicopter? Just
send the drone up, see what that helicopter's
Yeah, right next to the helicopter.
Thank you. So Jan did a really good job because I didn't live with my dad all the time. The 3 months in the summer I lived with him, she really had she didn't sleep over. Like, she didn't stay over.
For real?
No. When I was there for a long time.
Oh, when you were there?
Yes.
Oh, and you were only there on the weekends.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but she was like, that's your time with your daughter. And then at a certain age, when I think they'd been together for a long time and I was a little older and could understand their relationship, then she would sleep over, but she did not live there. And she made it very clear that she was not coming in on our relationship, that she was not being my mom, that she was not taking over a position. She remained very much my dad's girlfriend who did a lot with me and for me. And what was the gift in that is that I had a very clean idea of who she was and what she wanted. Like, she didn't want to be my best friend. She didn't want to replace my mom. And she didn't want to take a spot in my dad that belonged to me. She wanted me to have my relationship with my dad clean. Mm-hmm. And then her relationship with my dad was clean. Mm-hmm. So it was a real gift. And I think about how many people who move in on kids, and then especially if it doesn't work out,
that
it's really
you just
hard.
Answered what his question is.
You think so?
In hearing that, I went, so dude, that's the bro you got to be.
Yeah, I think so.
You got to make it clean for this kid. You got to think of this kid first and your dick second. So that's what Jan did, was like, I don't need to stay over and have sex. I can be with you and we can have our alone time when we have our alone time. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, it's about this kid and this kid seeing me respect you.
Yes, I respect her immensely.
That's the tough part, is you're in and out. And look, I don't know why you're in and out, but I also think that if the problems with her, you know, like, I don't know what the issue is of back and forth, but I think she will look at you in a different light too and go like, wow, either she'll be like, I see that he's respecting me in a way that for my kid. Mm-hmm. Cause I also would be like a fucking dirty dick dad. I'd be like, you know me. When we had babies, I'd try to have sex in the closet.
Well, yeah. And you're also like, hey, she's mine. Like, I know you got kids, but she's mine. You're very territorial like that. Yeah. And I think that what it taught me, what Jan taught me, was that you can have both. You can have a great relationship with a person who has a child who they have a great relationship with. And that person, my dad, didn't have to choose between me or Jan. Jan never required that. And I think the onus is on the other adult to require or not require that. My dad definitely had been in other relationships after Jan where that choice was required. Me or LeeAnn. And it's terrible because as a child, I look at it and go, but that's the dumbest choice ever. I don't want to be married to my dad. I don't want to be my dad's girlfriend, but I want a relationship with my dad that's clean, right? That's not complicated. And that has, not that it has nothing to do, my relationship absolutely had something to do with Jan, but there was absolutely no competition, for lack of a better word, I guess, from her. It was all about making sure the kid felt good where everything's concerned.
Well, I think that should answer your question.
Yes,
I think that was a very eloquent answer.
Oh, thanks, babe.
And I wish you the best of luck, man. And also send us pictures. Let's see what she looks like.
Wife of the Party is sponsored by DraftKings. This ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is Super Bowl 59. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi Trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I can't wait to start placing bets and talking junk with the people in my office about the Super Bowl. Come do it with us at DraftKings. It's going to be so fun. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code LeeAnn. That's code LeeAnn for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Wife of the Party is sponsored by Via. We all know February is the month of love. Looking to keep the love alive in and out of the bedroom? Want to keep the Valentine's Day energy going? Elevate your passion using the natural power of hemp with Via. Via has developed a unique blend of pleasure-enhancing cannabinoids, libido-strengthening herbs, and a medium dose of THC, all in one mind-blowing gummy called High Love. We're talking about pairing aphrodisiac herbs with a mild amount of THC. Their best-selling High Love gummy will awaken your senses, increase blood flow, and intensify any sexual experience. Via just dropped their High Love bundle, which includes a pack of gummies and THCA vape, so you can unlock the full experience at a reasonable price. A life hack for real. Who doesn't want to have a better sex life? I mean, if taking a gummy makes you chill out and open up, why not give it a try? If you're 21 plus, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code WIFE to receive 15% off. And if you're new to Via, get a free gift of your choice. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. This month of love, elevate your love life with Via.
Hi, LeeAnn. Long time watcher and listener. Appreciate every question and answer episode you put out. It's just amazing.
Aw.
My question is, so my grandfather's getting older, and I know, your dad, Papa Jay's getting older. And you can't be there all the time, and you can't force them to do things like, okay, let's test your eyesight to see if you can really drive, because I live in the Pacific Northwest up north, and it gets rainy and snowy, and it just not the same kind of country we're raised in, but kind of. It's just like, what happens if you fall, break your hip? When do I take his keys away? Like, what do you do as somebody you love? Like, I love my grandfather. He basically raised me. Like, he's the one who taught me to read, taught me to drive. Well, now he can't even spell normal things like strawberry.
Aww.
His cognitive awareness is just going down. He's forgetting things. I already go over there like once a week, make sure he's alive, has food that isn't rotten. But like, what do you do, or how do you approach this without taking like his manhood away? Without being like, You're no longer a man. You can no longer do this stuff. You know, like even, thank God he doesn't have stairs in his house, but he has an attic. And he's like, I need to clean the attic. And it's like,
God.
no, you don't. I need to come over and help you clean the attic because you can't be crawling in there.
Yeah.
You're almost 80.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm just struggling with how to be nice about what he needs, without being like controlling or taking his manhood. Anyway, love the podcast. Every Thursday is just a blessing.
Aww.
I love hearing what you have to say.
So nice.
I hope you guys have a great new year. Thank you.
You too.
That was really sweet.
It's really cool. There's 2 people on this podcast, but yeah, that's cool.
Are you jelly?
No. They're just all big fans of LeeAnn. Anyway, keep going, LeeAnn.
Here's what I'll say. Luckily, I haven't gotten to that place with my dad. I did watch my dad get to that place with his dad. And it's really hard to see someone who's so capable, so active, so sharp, be in a different phase, right? I want to say be in a different phase intentionally because there's such a negative connotation to being old or older. But it's a natural part of life to age. So it's just a different phase. And I think I've been thinking about how to deal with this with my dad. And even though I haven't had to, what I have done with my dad is simple things like, he needs to take care of his teeth. He's very stubborn. He doesn't want to take care of his teeth. But I just keep gently telling him from a place of a great deal of respect because he's older and how it must feel to realize your own decline, how that must feel to someone.
Well, hang on. Hit pause.
Oh, why?
We both feel that.
Of course, and we're only 50.
Yeah.
And so imagine at 70 how much more you feel your own decline. And I don't think their generation, the 70s and 80-year-olds, had as much self-reflection as we do as Gen Xers or even younger people. So to just have a great deal of reverence and respect for the fact that they are probably not enjoying their sense of decline in a certain way, to bring levity to the situation. I know I poke a lot of fun at my dad for not taking care of stuff like his teeth, and eventually he'll do it. Now, there's something I will say about someone who really does need help. There are a lot of resources for people to have home health care. And I don't mean like someone who lives in their home, but every person who's on Social Security, and I may screw up the semantics of this, I apologize, but I have a friend who does a job where she checks in on people every day. And she gets a very small paycheck, but it's still a paycheck to stop in every day on elderly people and just make sure that they have groceries, make sure that their laundry's folded, make sure that they are okay. And the government pays for that. Now, it's not a lot of money. I'm not saying this is like, a career move for somebody. But if there's a person who has several people who need that help, they can go from house to house and they're paid by the government to do that. That might be something to look into. Just to say, you've already paid your Social Security in working your whole life. So why not draw that benefit out? You've already paid for it. So why not receive it from the government? I'm not sure what it's called. I wish I knew and could give you better information. But yes, I have a friend here that lives in our old neighborhood, and that's what she does for a living. She just simply checks in on senior citizens and takes them to doctor's appointments, takes them to the grocery store, takes out their trash. They don't need help, like they don't need assisted living.
It's almost like a wellness check. Like just checking in.
It's almost like a wellness check. Yeah. It's almost like a wellness check / like errand person. And so that might be something you look into because it's something he's already paid into for his Social Security. And
also you can, look online, see if there's something. There's got to be, if you go online and you just work it enough and ask the right questions in Google, I bet there's a system in place, like LeeAnn said, if not something private, where you can get it for cheap for someone just to go in and check on them. I guarantee there's someone that does that. And I think that's all you need what you need is a little peace of mind.
Yes.
Because what's happened, it sounds like to me is happening is that you check in on him and you're worried about him. And then as you leave, you're like, it's a guilt thing where you're like, I can't do this every day. Like, I love this person. I can't do this every day, but I need to do it every day. And I don't have that bandwidth.
Yeah.
And I would argue, find out what that peace of mind is for you.
Yeah.
Is it the cost of going out to dinner one night a week? Because I bet you'd feel a lot better if you didn't. Whatever it costs to go out to dinner one night a week, you just put it into a savings and you got this person to check on them every other day. Mm-hmm. And I'm also, I'm bad with, I don't know what things cost. I'm bad with money.
It'll definitely be a little more than going out to dinner.
I know. I
However,
said that.
it is part of your Social Security package. 100%. Yeah. It is 100% part of it.
Also, I'll say as a man, I know what you're saying. You don't want to question his manhood. And he's a different man.
Yes.
He was born in the 40s. His father was in World War II. He was probably in the Vietnam War or Korean War.
Yeah.
He sounds like a great man because he raised you, taught you how to read, and you're spot on. Let me tell you something. I don't talk to my dad certain ways because my dad's very independent and my dad's got it. But
you could also approach.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. No.
You could also approach that with him with a lot of dignity and a lot of respect.
I was going to say, before you so rudely interrupted.
I know. We're in therapy because Bert keeps interrupting me. Happened downstairs just a few minutes ago. Didn't it, Christine? It sure did.
Christine, can you please stand up for me right now?
She's not going to get
LeeAnn, don't make it. Listen.
She's my friend first.
You want to keep it
She's
private,
my friend
we'll
first. My friend. She's my friend. Mine.
No one in the world, no one in the world,
Mine.
no one in the world ever
Mine.
listen to this would ever think
Mine.
that you interrupt me.
Mine.
They would never believe me.
Mine.
They would never believe me. They would never believe.
I'd say I interrupt you 20% to your 80. 70-30?
Edit this out if you want. Pierce, you know that our therapist actually said, so is this how it always works? Do you always interrupt him or do you let him finish a sentence? Pierce, I swear to God, she said that. And Pierce, for the record, you know how much I interrupt? And I was like, oh!
Why do you think that is? Do you think someone was directing the conversation in maybe a way I didn't agree with? Geez, so until we got too deep in the woods and those waiters got up to your hips, I kind of redirected. But we can edit all that out if you want to.
No, leave it in.
Okay,
leave it in. Leave it in. Here's the deal.
Were you doing an accent?
No, but I will say, I have to say that therapist did not get a fair representation of me because I did listen more than I talked, and that is not who I am. That was not who I am. And at one point, I thought she must think I am like a very patient, quiet guy.
Yes, thank you for recognizing that because I was like, wow, if he just was like this every time we fought, we wouldn't even be here.
But back to the caller. And by the way, please keep all that in. Back to the caller. There is a dignity that you have to have as a man. And I think the way to approach that dignity is with levity. And you do that with your dad. That's when you said that, I wanted to jump in and interrupt, but that's not who I am. But like, but no, the way is so my parents are in their 70s, and they wanted to stay for the hurricane in Tampa, which I totally understand. But they're also 70. And they're not.
Well, they're 76.
76. They're not in their physical prime. And I was very upset and I wanted to approach it as upset as I was. But instead, what I did is I said, hey, Dad, Mom, didn't you tell me a story recently about Mom falling and you couldn't get her up? So you just gave her a pillow and the blanket on the stone floors in the living room and said, we'll figure it out tomorrow. And like lightheartedly, I made jokes about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you got to approach it with levity and levity and love and look into the program LeeAnn said, but levity and love. And I have to say, yeah, Levity and love. I think that's the way to approach it. And best of luck. I think you fucking sound like the most awesome kid in the world.
Yeah, great granddaughter. And that you're even aware that you don't want him to feel emasculated is half the battle. And so when you approach it, you'll approach it from a place of dignity and respect. And you know, there's some grace in accepting help, right? There's some grace in that. And maybe that's what you present with him too, is now is the time in your life to be really graceful.
Yeah.
And let people help you. Let people pick up your groceries. Let people, take out your trash. It's okay. Wife of the Party is sponsored by Shopify. When you think about companies with healthy sales like Chubby's or Aloe or Gymshark or Magic Spoon or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, an attractive brand, and marketing that lifts a heavy load. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. And if you are a business owner and you're using Shopify as your sales platform, they make analytics so easy. Even for me, I can barely post something on Instagram, but I can figure out my Shopify. I can see what my sales are, what my inventory is. It just makes running your business so much easier. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout BBP uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/wife, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/wife to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/wife. Do I love going out and hanging with my friends? Yes. Does all that eating and drinking start to take a toll? Also, yes. I can always tell when my body is desperately craving a reset, and Prolon by L-Nutra does just that. Prolon's 5-day program gives my system a break. It's fasting, but with food, and it's pretty much a game changer. Prolon's fasting mimicking diet is a revolutionary plant-based nutrition program that nourishes the body while making cells believe they're fasting. Researched and developed for decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by leading U.S. medical centers, Prolon helps support healthy blood sugar, enhanced skin appearance, fat loss, and improved energy and focus post-fast. It all starts with their 5-day program, snacks, soups, and beverages designed to keep your body in a fasting state. No guesswork or planning required, which is a relief after a busy holiday. 3 consecutive cycles of Prolon have been shown to reduce your biological age score by an average of 2.5 years and your waist circumference by 1.5 inches. I like the ease of Prolon myself because I don't have to think about it. I can just order their fasting kit, open the box, and get started. And the soups are yummy, and I love tea, and I love their snacks of olives. They're just so good. To help you kickstart a health plan that truly works, Prolon is offering Wife of the Party listeners 15% off site-wide plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day nutrition program. Just visit prolonlife.com/wife. That's PROLONLIFE.com/wife to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift, prolonlife.com/wife.
Can we get our therapist on here?
Fine.
We got to do more couples therapy, but I want our couples
Stop
therapist
picking
on
your
here.
nose and throwing it in my studio. It's disgusting. Don't do that. You just want like this. In my studio.
Okay.
This is not your room. This is my room.
Next caller.
Hi, yes, LeeAnn and Bert. I watch y'all quite a bit. My name's Katie. I know y'all have 2 kids, and I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, boy and girl. My son, he's the 3-year-old, and he's autistic and requires a lot of attention as it is. I want to know how y'all balance attention between both your kids, because especially I worry about it when they get older, especially with him, with his autism. His schedule's so busy, and I'm so focused on him with his therapies and his preschool and his other doctor's appointments. I don't want to take away time from her. And so yeah, that's my question. How do y'all balance like attention time between both kids to where like, where the other one, which I don't leave my other kid out. But how do you balance that? That was my question. Thank you. And I'll be listening. Okay.
I'm gonna direct this towards you.
Okay.
Who do you think got more attention from you?
Isla. 100%.
100%.
And I have to say, have a lot to say about this. One thing is you have to regulate your expectations of yourself. We had a child who liked to snuggle, who liked to read books, who would watch TV or not watch TV, who would play board games, who would have a tea party. She'd play dress up. She'd have conversations with me. She'd sit in her high chair. She would eat at the table. She would eat whatever I gave her. And then I gave birth to the Tasmanian devil, who would do none of it, who climbed, who jumped, who walked too early, who would eat garbage out of the garbage can, who would climb up the cabinets to get on the countertop. And she was only freaking 10 months old.
If the oven looked hot, she'd try to put her fingers in it.
If the oven looked hot, she went open that shit up and put me in.
Do you remember when she shoved her fingers in between the ovens and burned them?
Yes.
And I called the doctor because there was a bubble on it.
Yes.
And the doctor said, "You let your daughter put her hands in the oven?" I said, "Bitch, you don't know this child."
Exactly.
I couldn't stop her from putting her fingers in the oven.
She tried actively to kill herself for the first 24 months of her life.
I said, if this kid acts like there's an insurance policy on her life and she's trying to collect the money.
As you cash it in. So I remember just simply apologizing to Georgia for years. For literal years. And then when Isla got to be old enough when she was in school and Georgia was also in school, Georgia needed no help with school.
Zero.
She didn't need you to say, hey, let's do your homework. She didn't need help with her homework. She was not the most brilliant kid in class, but she was definitely an A student with very little direction, effort, support, nothing. LeeAnn Kreischer, I had to be with her all the time for her homework, or she just couldn't. She's so dyslexic. She's terribly unorganized, couldn't get wonderful art brain, amazing positive things. But in the moment-to-moment minutia of life, Georgia simply needed less and Isla simply needed more. And I can't really say that I have any good advice to you, except to say,
LeeAnn's going, I'm so sorry you're fucked the same way I was fucked.
I was so fucked. But what I did do, right? What I did do that I think was the best I could, Isla had so many therapies for her sensory processing disorder. We went to brain camp. We called it brain camp. It was neurolinguistic therapy where we drove 45 minutes to sit in therapy for an hour and a half to drive home for 45 minutes 3 days a week. And in that time, I focused all of my attention on Georgia.
And I have to say, the other day, LeeAnn and Georgia were together, and Georgia was talking about the games they'd play at brain camp.
Yes.
And she was like, "Mom, do you remember this?"
Yes.
And it was not like, do you remember this? It was
This
really
sucked.
positive.
Because I was like, I'm gonna teach you how to play rummy. Because you can play rummy in the car. We can play rummy in the waiting room. It takes a deck of cards. That's it. And we played rummy for points. And I taught her how to keep points and keep score. And George and I played thousands of hours of rummy. I didn't decide.
The irony of this is that Isla is a savant at rummy.
Which makes me insane. Yes.
She
I
is
don't know how.
savant.
She is
a savant. And I'm not even saying.
No, not even joking.
I'm not even joking.
If we play 4 games of Rummy Cube, she wins 3 minimum, probably 4.
She wins all of them, and she has a brain. Sure, whatever is going on with her brain, that's the weird thing.
Yeah.
But that's the answer. I'm telling you when I say. And
It's
from my
quality
point,
over
from my
quantity.
perspective, I never really dealt with I didn't deal with the trauma of Isla, so I wasn't home that much.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia was a cuddler. She was always awesome.
Yep. Georgia was easy.
Isla was a lunatic, and I enjoyed it.
Georgia was very effortless. And in the effortlessness it's easy to be left behind.
Yeah.
Right? So I always tried to be aware of her effortlessness so that she could have something that was either just hers or that was elevated. Now, Isla didn't have autism, but she did have sensory processing disorder and she has pretty severe dyslexia.
She got pretty diagnosed by people at my shows at times. Like they were like, your child is highly autistic.
It's
And I was
ADHD.
like,
She's not autistic. We actually had her
ADHD.
fully tested.
Yeah, we
we had her fully tested multiple times.
even Isla came to me after she watched Love on the Spectrum, and she's like, "Hold on,
I think I'm on the spectrum. She's not. She's been, which is fine. If she had autism, I would be the first to say she's autistic.
It would have
not.
been nice to put a label on it,
Exactly.
as opposed to go, "There's something wrong with my kid, and we don't know what the fuck's wrong with it."
She has sensory processing disorder and she has dyslexia, and
she is
obstinate,
bizarre,
stubborn.
She's got LeeAnn's fucking brain.
She's so stubborn.
She's got a part of my brain, and she's look. She's just a unique child.
She is.
And the thing about Georgia's wildly unique, but not in the kind of ways that you have to stop traffic for.
That's right.
Georgia's wildly unique, and like, sadly, in a lot of the same ways I'm unique, is that she's very sensitive. She's very creative. She's like you. She's a little bit of an introvert where she likes to read books. And I saw like the weirdest thing. The thing that creeped me out the most with my daughter one time, Georgia and her friend were sitting on a couch together. I can't even say it.
Reading at the same time?
Reading the same book at the same time.
Yes, the best.
They were on different pages. One was looking at one page and one was looking at the other page, and they were reading the same book.
It's the best.
Running a train on a book.
It's the best. I love that.
Running a train on a book, and I was like.
So the question she had was, she has a son that has clearly more necessary, essential needs than the other child, right? So if you can find a way to really hone in on what I don't want to say less intense, but maybe the less intense need child, and really focus on those needs. It's about quality over quantity, because I would say to Georgia sometimes would get in her feelings about how much time I spent with Isla doing homework. And I would say to her, you don't need that support from me, but you need other things. And here are the other things that I do for you. So it may not look the same, and it may not even be the same number of hours. Like, it may take me 4 hours to do this for Isla, and it may only take you 30 minutes to do it for you. So you can't get in the mindset of, well, I gave Isla 4 hours, now I give Georgia 4 hours. That will make you crazy. You have to get into the quality of time, and that time being what that child needs. Georgia really needed to feel connected to me. So she needed me to sit down and read her a book. And that was really hard when Isla was little, but I would do my very best to find a moment to sit down and read a book with Georgia when she was little, and to say, this is what I can do that really does what Georgia needs. Georgia would like me to read a book all day long. I can't do that. I couldn't have done that and had a second child and a job and a husband and a life. But I could do what I could do that really meant something to Georgia.
Here's the deal. Your oldest, your son with autism, you will never forgive yourself if you don't give him the attention he needs. Your youngest, you'll be able to figure it out. It'll be fine. You can always negotiate that. Like that's that you can always figure out a way to work that out. But if you're talking about a child with autism that needs the special attention and is what you would ultimately say is special needs, meaning like special needs, it is wildly unfair to him to not give him everything he needs. And that is the truth. And the other thing is, and this is how it worked with Isla and Georgia, is it would be unfair if we had just been like, fuck you to Isla. We'll treat you both the same, because they're not both the same.
No, it's true.
One person would only go to school in boots with bare feet, and you would fight with her to put on socks. No. You'd fight with her to put on shoes. No. LeeAnn and her would fight at the front door. We would be late, and Georgia would be sitting there, backpack on, socks pulled up to her calves, shoes on,
ready to go,
hairband on, backpack on the back, lunchbox in her hand, just going like, oh.
Well, something I would do with our kids is I would validate to Georgia that what she was dealing with in waiting on Isla was valid. Like if you're feeling frustrated, that's accurate. Like you're right. And I have this other person I'm dealing with. That's right also. She's struggling with a sensory processing problem. She cannot put her shoes on. So I understand that you are ready to go and it's stressing you out to go to school. And I completely validate that. And I still have to take care of this other kid who has an opposite and opposing set of needs to yours. And I'm one person who has to take care of both people's needs at the same time. And I know for Georgia, it's a lot to ask, but all I could do, my only solution was to just be honest with her and to just to be completely honest and say, I don't want to sit here and watch your sister struggle to put shoes on either. Your sister's not bad for that, but it's just something we have to do. And we can do it as a family and as a team. And that somehow made Georgia at least feel seen and that her emotions were valid. And I may not be able to fix or help what's making her feel that way, but at least I can say, I understand you feel that way and it's okay that you feel that way. And I'm here for you and I can listen to your feelings, but we may be kind of stuck here.
LeeAnn was ill-equipped to deal with this situation with Isla in Georgia. She had no preparation for it. She had no insight, and she fucking killed it. You, young lady, are ill-equipped to deal with this. You have no preparation. You've never had an autistic child. You've never worked, but you're talking about it out loud, and here is the solace you can go to bed with. You, just like LeeAnn, will kill it.
Yeah,
you will kill it. You will kill it, and you will not feel like you're killing it at times, but that's when you're killing it the most. Because when you don't feel like you're killing it,
you're killing
it. That's when you don't feel like you're killing it. It's when you're aware of it and you're like, okay, hold on. I gotta self-correct. I gotta do this. You're killing it and you're gonna kill it. I promise you're gonna kill it.
I'm gonna normalize one thing for you. The guilt that goes with that is real and is normal. I had a massive amount of guilt for feeling like Georgia didn't get every single thing she needed because Isla's needs were urgent and sometimes life-threatening. And I had to make a choice sometimes. And guilt comes with that. If you don't feel guilty for recognizing the imbalance in parenting, then something's wrong with you, I think.
Yeah.
So if you start feeling really guilty, I wouldn't want you to feel shame about that or to feel like you're a horrible person or parent, because I think when you have a child that has extreme needs like your child probably does and like our youngest child definitely did, guilt is part of the package. So if you know guilt is going to come, maybe you can be kinder to yourself when you start feeling it. Because I've still to this day apologized to Georgia for not.
We both apologize to Georgia.
for Isla taking up all the air in the room sometimes because that's the only way we could get from A to B.
Get into stand up and write an act about the weird kid and not the normal kid. Just so one day will look at you and go, "What about me?"
Well, that's very true. Yes. Georgia oftentimes says Bert doesn't talk about her enough. And I'm like, she was just borderline perfect for
great kid.
Almost her whole life. She was just so
She was my Jiminy
amazing.
Cricket. She was my Jiminy Cricket. She was the one that was always on my shoulder pointing out what was happening around me. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Georgia wrote my acts. She'd be like, what about the time we went to the escape room? And I was like, what? You don't remember that? She's the unsung hero. She is the unsung hero. She'd look and go, Dad, look at what's happening out there. And I'm like, God damn it. It was she was my eyes and ears. But it's hard to write that. It's easier to write about the kid that
puts her deodorant in the refrigerator.
And fucking
names her period party cake Jason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Puts her foot in the compost bucket and then goes to school.
I didn't
She walked out of class barefoot. We're like, where are your shoes? She's like, teacher made me throw them away. We're like, what? She's like, I don't know. I guess they stank. And you're like, what?
Right? We had a 5-gallon bucket with a lid on it that I was composting with, and it had the compromise the lid.
She tried to climb over the bucket, to climb over the fucking fence to get to the car to go to school.
Instead of just walking out the door.
She wanted to climb over the fucking fence. So she stepped on the compost bucket. Her foot went into the compost bucket.
In the compost. It smelled like ass.
And then thought nothing of it, got in the car. When we were in the car, we're like, what the fuck
is this smell? Completely forgot about that.
Yeah. She was the one this was the child that when I said to her, when she got put on the bench, I said, does Lily Fromkin get put on the bench? And she looked at me dead serious at like 5 years old and goes, Dad, Lily didn't take enough chances. I was like, what the fuck?
At 5 years old.
This is the same child that last night texted LeeAnn, read. This is too funny. This is too funny. We got evacuation orders or warnings or whatever yesterday. And so we simply packed go bags, right? Very simple. You're going to hear, I'm sure I'm not going to do it the right way on Two Bears when we talk about it because I didn't have the text, but.
Yes, you do. It's on Baby Walrus. So we're in these fires here.
The fires are really bad in LA.
The fires are bad. And I last night started getting really anxious, and I was like, if we do have to evacuate, I can't spend like half an hour gathering my stuff. So I'm going to get some stuff and just put it on the dining room table, and then at least we can like sweep it into a bag and go, right? So of course, the first thing I get is Georgia and Isla had these two stuffed animals.
No, hang on. See, this is where it's important to have me tell a story, is because I know how to set it up properly. So hold on.
I beg your pardon. I'm an excellent storyteller. I just don't tell stories like you do with hyperbole, but I tell excellent stories.
No. I tell stories that are weighted and they're placed in a certain way. So LeeAnn says, are we going to pack or are we not going to pack? And I went, no, we're not going to pack. And I start kind of packing. And LeeAnn goes, well, now I want to pack. And I went, okay, well, we should pack. She goes, just necessities. She goes, seriously, passports, cash, handguns.
Yeah.
2 days change of clothes, that's it. And I went, cool. And she goes, jewelry. We should grab jewelry. And I went, yeah. What's fascinating about this is I walked through the house and LeeAnn said, let's walk through the house. And then you stopped and you go, I got to get Ba Bear and Ba Rabbit.
Not just Ba.
Ba and Ba
Bear.
They're those two animals that they got
yes,
a long time ago. And
they had their whole childhood. They slept every night with them. They went everywhere with Ba and Ba Bear.
And to be fair, LeeAnn bought replacement Ba Bear and Ba just so that if they ever lost them, she could replace them.
Yeah, they were.
It was so
irreplaceable items in their childhood.
And LeeAnn has an emotional moment. She looks at me and she goes, I got to get Ba and Ba Bear.
Of course.
And I go, okay. And she goes, and I'm going to get pictures. I'm going to get hard drives. I'm going to get just necessities. And then she goes, you know what? I should probably text the girls.
Yeah.
Text Georgia, no reply. Text Isla, and Isla says, very simply, this is what I want you to get, Mom.
No, this is what happened.
Okay.
I text a picture of Ba and Ba Bear, and I said, I have most of the important stuff. And then I text them this picture. And then Isla said, none of mine, though. And I go, well, what's Ba Bear? And I got your jewelry. And she goes, those are important, but I have other things I would really want.
I didn't hear this.
And I said, like what? And she goes, I think, okay, this is long. You ready? I think my rock sweater is in the closet or laundry in my room. I would want that. I would want my lamps or just the top of my big lamp and the one next to my bed and the one in my bathroom. I would want all of my clothes and all of my shoes and all of my crystals. I would want the binder in my shelf next to the green cabinet in my room that has all my kindergarten drawings and photos in it. I want my posters. I want my bull skull and the jewelry case from my closet. And I said, I have the jewelry case. And you said, you guys are told to leave. Can you please get my things? And I said, I'm taking the pictures from the hallway that she drew, but we can't get all your clothes, Isla. And then she goes, are you told to evacuate? And I said, I can get your rock sweater. I know that one's very special, but I can't get all your clothes. And we're not going to have to evacuate. It's going to be okay. And then she said, and I need the Metallica sweater that's really old. And please just try to get my lamps. What? Oh, and I also want my yearbooks that are on the other side of the window seat in the cabinet. Are we evacuating? I'm confused. It's like, oh my God, I need a U-Haul to evacuate all the stuff. It's her entire room.
Yeah.
She wants me to just pack her entire room. Isla says, this is what Georgia said. Georgia said, wait, are we evacuating? I'm confused. And then she went, Isla, ha, 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 ha. That's all Georgia said in the whole text thread. Wife of the Party is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best experience and brings people together with more than 100 years of family-owned expertise as America's original butcher. Winter is the perfect time to indulge in classic comfort foods, but it's also a great time to discover something new. And during the Omaha Steaks Big Yum event, you can do both. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. Every steak is extra aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. I order Omaha Steaks so often for my dad and my Uncle Steve. I think they've tried pretty much everything they sell, from the one skillet meals to their excellent filet mignon, from their hot dogs, which are so good, to their twice-baked potatoes. And don't forget the chocolate cream pie. They love that chocolate cream pie. Bring home the world's best steak experience with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com to save on your favorites and discover something new during their Big Yum event. And for an extra $20 off, use promo code WIFE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and an extra $20 off with promo code WIFE at checkout. Go to omahasteaks.com to save on endless variety and flavor during their Big Yum event, and use promo code WIFE at checkout for an extra $20 off. Minimum purchase may apply. A big thanks to our advertiser, Omaha Steaks.
We should probably wrap this up.
Well, do we have one more caller and then wrap it up?
Sure, let's do one more.
Or should we be done?
Let's do one more.
Hi, LeeAnn. My name is Kimberly, and my question for you is, our son, he was 36, passed away in November. He had an undiagnosed health condition. We didn't know. He fell asleep here at home and never woke up.
Oh, my God.
I thank God that he was at least home and not by himself in his own place. But how, as a mom, how am I supposed to move forward? I'll never forget him, and nobody wants me to, but I watch you guys, and you make me laugh, and I just saw that you had this option to call, and so that's my question. How do I pick myself up off the ground and keep going? Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. I can't even imagine what you must feel. I don't even want to imagine it. I can't imagine losing one of our kids. I can't.
First of all, I'm going to say I'm sorry.
I am so sorry.
I'm so sorry you lost your son. I'm so sorry.
An undiagnosed health condition.
And no age makes it right. No age makes it better. I'm so sorry you lost your son. I'm so fucking sorry. And
How do you?
I got to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know if we have the answer for that. I don't know. All I know is, and I know this is a question, LeeAnn, but I just.
Well, her question was, how do you move on?
I don't think you ever move on.
I don't know that you ever move on either.
You move over.
I think that what happened, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, which is not a place I'd like to go, because I don't want to think about losing one of my kids. But I would think if one of my kids passed away from an undiagnosed health condition in the middle of the night, I would be shocked and stunned, and there would be a long period of time where I would have to be kind of shell-shocked. But life is long, and you can't spend your whole life shell-shocked after something like that happens. So I want to say that to say you're clearly very upset still. It was only November. It's too soon for you to even start moving on.
Yeah.
I think you have to be patient with yourself to grieve the way that you need to grieve, because it's pretty profound what has happened. I think once you start kind of letting the light in again, I guess, I would imagine if I were you and I came to that place, I don't know if it's 2 months, if it's 6 months, if it's a year, if it's 2 years, I don't know what it is. But at a certain point when things started to shift and regulate and life without this person becomes your normal, I would like to think I would try and fill my heart with joy for the time I had with my child for 36 years and to find a place of gratitude for having had 36 years with this person, because I don't know how else I would manage it. I think to manage it by being angry or upset is okay for a limited time, that's natural for a time in your life to be angry and obviously devastated and confused and frustrated and pissed at the world. I would be that. But once there's a cycle of grief. The cycle of grief is about 18 months long, as I understand it. And you cycle through like fear and anger and sadness. And I'm sure this is not in order, but there is a natural cycle to grief when you have lost. You can look it up online. It's pretty, quote, textbook. And so, but once you start getting to the end of this cycle of grief, I would just think to find a way to celebrate him and to feel him with you always, because I believe energy is with you always. I believe my grandparents are with me every single day. I don't think they ever leave me. I really don't. I genuinely believe that my pop and granny are with me every single day. And they have other grandkids and kids, and I don't know what their deal is with those people, but they're with me. And I would just have to find a way to believe that he was with me every day.
I'm gonna jump in real quick, and I apologize, and I'm gonna sound a tad bit confrontational in this.
Uh-huh.
But I heard you say a couple words that in her world, for me, wouldn't mean anything.
Okay.
Like joy and gratitude and the shit like that. The stuff you hear on the line that they tell you to do every day.
No, but it means something to me. But I understand.
I know. But in that moment, you go, I can't find any gratitude in losing this child.
I didn't say there was gratitude in losing the child.
No, but I mean, like, it's like
having them for 36 years.
I understand that, but it's so the loss is what you're focused on. The loss
right now.
So like, I'm not a therapist, and I'm just gonna say this is what Bert would do. This is so stupid. Maybe find a hobby your son would have loved or respected or found silly or funny and dive fucking headfirst into it. Like maybe like if your son was into hip hop music, fucking release a rap album and dedicate it to him. I'm just trying to sell you the way I work. This is the way my brain works. I have a friend I lost. No, I'm not going to get into this. I have a ritual I do. Not every day, but a lot, that reminds me of him. I think of him every time I do that ritual. It's the dumbest fucking ritual. I've been doing this ritual for 12 years. How long has it been gone? 12 years?
I don't think it's been quite that long. But
10 years?
Maybe 10, yeah.
I've been doing this ritual for 10 years. It never loses meaning to me, and it's so stupid. It reminds me of him, and I think of him, and I give gratitude for having him in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But give yourself some time to be super fucking angry.
Yes, for sure.
And be fucking mad and get drunk and fucking go to the beach and throw rocks in the fucking ocean. Fucking knock off stab someone's tire with a knife and walk away.
I don't know about vandalism,
you deserve it. You deserve it.
We're saying the same thing. You do a ritual for gratitude. It's about being grateful for having that person.
My thing is, if someone's in motorcycles, buy yourself a fucking motorcycle.
No, I get that.
And if your son loved basketball, start fucking following basketball. And give yourself something to remind you of that person.
Stay connected. Yeah. I think that's good advice, to find something they'd be into and stay connected.
I just think it's so unfair that we die.
Losing
this was unfair.
It was.
You got cheated. You got fucking ripped off. So when they overcook your steak, you're allowed to send it back. And all of a sudden, you're at a restaurant where they overcook your steak, you send it back, and they tell you to go fuck yourself and leave. And that's what death's like. And you're like, no, this isn't fair. And then other people look at you and go, this is how it works. Oh, I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. It's something a parent should never have to do.
Get a thigh tattoo.
A thigh tattoo?
Yeah, do something. Shake up the world. Shake up your world. Shake up your fucking world. Fucking sparkle it up and do something wild. Is there a place in the world your son wanted to go? Go to that place. Fucking take yourself. Fly to that place. If you can't afford it, call me. I'll fly you. Take a fucking, go run a marathon. Whatever, find something to do that your son wanted in life and never got the opportunity to do, and you do it for him.
That's great. I love that. Grace and gratitude is a way to think about who he was. And you know, I know you probably don't believe this, Bert, but I do. You can't change what's happened. You can't bring him back.
No, I agree with that.
You can't. No, I'm not finished with what I'm going to say because you interrupted me. I'm back to this therapy thing. Stop interrupting me.
I agree totally.
You can't. So if you are with the circumstances you are, which is your son is gone. What you do with those circumstances is what matters. You can't change the fact that he went to sleep, he had an undiagnosed health condition, and he never woke up. But you can affect how you process that by finding grace and gratitude for the life that he had and for the experiences he gave you and for the memories you'll have forever. And I think that's the most free way to live with grief like that. Is that grief is, it will never go away, but how you embrace it is what matters. To embrace your grief in a way of an expression of how you loved him. Does that make sense?
None of this makes sense to me.
Well, it makes sense to me.
And I know that it makes sense to you, and I know it probably makes sense to this lady.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to me. I need action. I need a solution. Tell me how the fuck to get out of this feeling. You know, that's what I need. And then I'm
saying something very different. I'm saying this feeling
I know you are. I'm just saying I don't understand it.
Yes.
That's all.
This feeling of grief, grief for losing someone, like when I relate it to my grandparents, which is the closest thing I have to what she has. I have my dad, I have my parents. I don't have siblings. Everybody's alive. My Aunt Diane died and my grandparents have died. And other than that, I've been very lucky to have everybody. So the only thing I can think is, if I take that grief I feel and the loss I feel, I cried a month ago about my grandmother not being here anymore. She's been dead like 6 years. She was very important to me, and she died an 88-year-old woman. This is someone where you don't have a lot of like shock and awe when someone that's 88 goes. But I still have.
She did die skydiving.
She did not. But I still have a lot of grief. So when that grief comes to me, I see that grief as a measure of how much I loved her, as opposed to something really, really negative. That's what I mean.
I think
grief is hard. I
think it's easier. I'm not disagreeing, because I've been very lucky.
Well, your grief is how much you love that person that you've been gone for so long.
So I think
if you forget them, then there's no measure
I think
of
you're
love.
misunderstanding what there is. Like I lost my grandma and my nana, and my grief. I go, oh, I miss them, and then that's respect. But when someone's taken from you,
no, I get
I think that grief maybe comes different.
It is different.
It's the same meal, just one served hot and one served cold.
No, I get it. I understand that it's different.
I hear this and I go, when someone's taken from you, you go, I got gypped.
Of course.
I got fucked in this whole fucking scenario. I was supposed to die first.
Of course.
I was supposed to go at 77 or at 88, and then they were supposed to go
after me.
Yeah, and then they were going to go, oh, they lived a great life, and then I could go, oh, I left them everything, and I think it's just I get lost in like what I call therapy, the therapy words of it, of like grace and gratitude and all the shit of like I get lost and I get angry and I go, yeah, I'm not her and she's not me, but I go, if I was her, I'd be like, yeah, none of this means anything to me. How do I get through this? Get me to the next place. How do I get out of this? It's like, when I had that lump in my mouth and I went to the gym and I sat down and I felt it and I tried to pop it and it wouldn't pop, and it's now popped, everyone, just all clear.
Thank God we were all worried about it.
But you need to understand that is how I hear you talking to her, is like grace and gratitude, or thank God we're all worried about it. It's very fucked up. I can't imagine what grief feels like at that level.
No, I can't either.
At that level, I can't imagine.
Well, of course not.
But I do know what panic and anxiety feels like at that level, where you realize, okay, this is a real thought that I can't get rid of, and now I'm here, and this isn't going away for a while. How the fuck do I get out of this? And you get up and you try to walk around the room, and you're like, it's still here. And you're like, should I work out? And you're like, I can't focus to work out. I'm covered in this shit. I'm covered. Right now, she is covered in grief.
Of course.
It's covered. It's cloaked in it. When she walks into a room, she fucking stiff lips it to get through that room. And I don't identify with, I can, you remember when Croy passed away and I was in that, and I was in the truck and your dad was driving, the girls and you were in the back, and I was crying in the front row and your dad was uncomfortable, and I just found out he passed away, and the girls were like, is Dad okay? And you're like, he's okay. But you're covered in it. You're covered in it.
Yeah, of course.
And so I just respectfully say that I don't understand what you're saying, because I don't want to like be like just going like.
Well, I don't think maybe you heard all of what I said.
No, I did. And I just, my thing, no.
Well, the problem is this, the problem I'm having with what you're saying is that what you're talking about, I don't know that that's healthy for that to be the rest of her life.
No, it's not.
So what I've been saying is when you get through that part, what you're talking about, what's past that part is how you deal with the grief that will never go away.
Hold on. Can I tell you that what I'm saying is wildly unhealthy? I'm not.
Oh, I'm not saying what you're saying is unhealthy. I think we're talking about two different phases of grief.
I'm telling you that I need a quick fix. I'm giving her the Bert Kreischer quick fix. How do I get out of this? So I'll tell you what I do. I know you know what I do, but I do this every time I get to a place where I can't even do it every day because it's overwhelming me, and I'm a little OCD. And my buddy Croy, who took his life, he was OCD. I know you've heard me talk about him, and I always talk about him. I love him to death, like a brother, like a little brother. I swim underneath water to the bottom of the pool, all the way to the other side, and hold my breath. And I've done it. In our old pool, I go back and forth. And it's because of something he said to me a long time ago. And every time I do it, I think about him. Yeah. Every time I do it, I think about him.
Yeah.
And I look at my life and I go, God damn it, Croy, I wish you were here.
Yeah.
I just wish you were here. I wish you saw this.
Yeah. I know.
We both moved out to LA at the same time. But I don't get sad. I get sad now talking about it, but like, I don't get sad when I do it. I think about him and I love him and I miss him.
You were saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Grief is an indicator of how much you cared about that person. And the positive of that is that you had this amazing, positive, love-based relationship with this person. And if you didn't, you wouldn't be having this feeling 10 years after Croy is gone. And she will have this feeling for the rest of her life. It's never going. I was sitting in traffic the other day crying about my grandmother. My grandma was 88.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for me to be super sad that she's gone. The grief that I still have that sneaks up on me is an indication of how much I loved her and how strong our relationship was. So when she gets out of this insane moment of grief and anger and the cycle of grief that's like 18 months long, for the longness of life, first of all, be patient. You should be patient with yourself for 18 months. Go online and look at the cycle of grief. It's very systematic. And if you know that that's what the 18 months after he died is going to look like, then you can weather it a little better because you know that this is the natural progression when you lose someone you love. And that progression of grief applies to people who've lost children, who've lost parents. It's about death and loss in general, the cycle of grief. So if you know that where I am now is where I'm supposed to be and that's healthy, that's helpful. Yeah. But once you get out of that cycle of grief, how you deal with the grief that keeps coming, how you deal with the memory of your son, how you deal with your own self moving forward, the only way I can imagine myself doing it is to find a place of gratitude where that I had this child for 36 years, that I got to have this relationship with them, and I can't change the fact that they're gone. So I can choose to continue to be angry for the rest of my life or to find a place to be grateful after you've gone through the cycle of grief. Because that cycle of grief, you have to go through it. If you deny that cycle of grief, it just prolongs. It just keeps going on forever and ever. And I don't think your son would want you to be marred down and not move forward and
I would want you to grieve me for at least 36 months. Do not stop grieving me. Grieve me every day of your life. Do not move forward. Find no grace, no gratitude. Curse the Lord himself for taking the best thing in your life away from you.
Life should just stop entirely.
100%. 100%.
You need double, maybe triple the 18 months. Like
I said 36 months, no less, no more.
Look at your face.
36 months. I need a tattoo on your thigh. I want you to get a motorcycle. I want you to start drinking heavily, pour osos, and I need you to I need your life to be dedicated to my memory.
Now, what do you think I would expect from you if I died?
Baby, I told you I would never marry another woman.
That I don't believe you.
No, I'd never marry another woman.
I don't believe you.
No, I would have nameless, faceless sex with
I don't believe that either because you're scared of disease. So you would marry somebody so you could lock them in so you don't get a disease.
Oh, you think I'm going to just marry someone?
Yeah. I think you would marry someone quickly because I'll tell you why.
Why?
You can't fucking function in the day-to-day without a person. Maybe you'd marry Peter.
I have a same-sex marriage with Peter.
You just would be like, Peter, you're locked in for life. I know you're my, quote,
you know how great
assistant.
it would be if he lived at our house?
For you, it would suck for Peter.
We already don't sleep in the same rooms, me and you.
I know because you snore horrifically, but it would suck for Peter. You would be basically saying to Peter, you are my host. I am your leech. Say goodbye to all your blood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could marry a dude, but you have to grieve me forever.
Would you grieve me?
Baby, of course.
I don't know.
I already told you this. I've already said this, and you know this is real.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go through the work just for the shorthand shit. Like I don't like to explain certain things. Like
that's it.
I
just have a shorthand with you.
No, that's
we just talk about like take on me, and you have to explain to each other what.
We don't have to explain certain things to each other, and that's why I love you.
Oh, I just make it easy for you?
No, you're a old car that I've owned forever, and I know how to start if it's cold.
Wow. I love you too, babe.
Pump the clutch 3 times and turn it. Now listen, if I give that car to someone else, they don't know how to start it.
How do you
And
know?
if I get a brand new car, I'm like, this is push button. I don't want the push button.
Is that right?
I like the old one where I pump the clutch 3
Is that
times,
right? Is that
gas
right?
twice, vroom, vroom, and then I run the gas up. Do you know there is an analogy that I'm talking about that's
Wow.
real?
I'm so lucky. I am so lucky.
Hold on. You know for a
I'm
fact.
the old car that you have to pop the clutch.
No, it's like your
And
dad's
you'd
jet skis. You're like your
prefer
dad's
that.
jet skis. You know how you got to figure out how to work your dad's jet skis?
Yes.
And then there's a while that when you don't know what you're doing with your dad's jet skis, you're fucked. But once you figure it out, you know how to run them. And then you feel pride in that you know how to run that jet ski. Is that you got to feather the clutch, right?
Uh-huh.
What is it? The choke. You got to feather the choke and then punch it and crank it up. You're one of your dad's jet skis.
Oh, it's good. It's good to know.
I'm a
Good.
brand new jet ski. I run fast. I run hot. Yeah.
You do not think you're a lot of work?
No.
Wow. Wow. You really don't think you're a lot of work?
I think I'm pretty simple.
You think you're pretty simple?
I think I'm pretty simple.
Let me tell you this, baby. That's inaccurate. That's totally inaccurate, which is why I'd be dead maybe 6 months and you'd be remarried because you're so fucking not
Pierce,
simple.
jump in. How quick do you think I get remarried if LeeAnn passed away?
Before her funeral.
Because you need someone to pick out your suit. You'd already be remarried.
I would definitely need someone to pick up my suit.
Exactly.
I dress as Winston Churchill to your funeral.
Would you trust Peter for that? No. You'd have some kind of old hot ass bitch that had no brain in there. And you go, well, at least I don't have to deal with someone arguing with me anymore. She doesn't interrupt me when I talk.
Oh, I would not get a personality. I wouldn't get one of you again. I get a fucking light version of you.
She doesn't interrupt me when I talk.
I would be shocked if she spoke English. If she spoke English, I'd be stunned. I go, shut up.
Would she speak Ottoman?
I got a good Ottoman Turk to fucking.
Christine spit out her water.
Well, this was fun. I can't wait to talk to our therapist about it next week.
First of all, I want everyone to know if you're married, and
Yeah.
even if your marriage is going good, if
Our
it's
marriage is going great.
it's going great.
Yeah.
Get into couples therapy. It was
It's
fun as
so
fuck. We had
fun.
so much fun.
We had so much fun.
We had fun, and I'll be honest with you. And not only did we have fun, but we were pretty honest, and we learned some stuff. Like
Well-
we didn't learn much. It was our first couples therapy.
One person learned and the other person proved.
Wait, which one was I?
You proved.
What did I learn?
No, as soon as we walked out, you were like, well, at least she saw you roll your eyes. And then she complained about you interrupting me. I knew you. I'm thank God someone
Hold
saw
on.
that you interrupted.
LeeAnn,
Prove.
LeeAnn in couples therapy, I said something. She went like this.
Well, you were misrepresenting something.
Hold on.
So, like, I am the angel who has come down from heaven in absolute perfection. I live in perfection. And this person over here, she's in therapy. She doesn't have anxiety. She's not a movie star.
hold on.
This one
I
is
didn't say
fucked
movie-
up.
No,
And
that's
was
not what I said. That's not what I said.
No, that's not what you
No,
said.
I know what I
That's
said.
you
I know what I said.
presented.
I know what I said.
That's
I know
what
what
you
I
were
said.
presenting.
I said, no,
and I was like, he is so full of shit right now.
I said, I'm very self-correcting. And you went,
And I went,
no, hold on. You said all those things. That's not what I said. What I said was, I am very self-correcting. And LeeAnn Pierce, look into the camera. This is what LeeAnn did. Pretend the camera's our therapist. She went like this. And I went, did you just roll my eyes? You roll your eyes? And she went, no.
I did not roll my eyes.
And then the therapist goes, well, she definitely did something towards me.
I did something. She did something with her eyes.
She
Now,
did
what
something
you
with her
said
eyes.
was, I pretty quickly figure out where I'm wrong and apologize pretty quickly. And I went, what? I was like, that's not accurate. That's not how I feel when we're arguing. It's basically like, I am right. You will say I am right. And you will apologize for not saying I'm right. And then maybe I'll listen to you. Maybe. But first you must take care of me.
No, you are out of your fucking
I'm
mind.
not out of my mind. That's exactly how our fights
Who
go.
won therapy?
There's no win or lose. I'll tell you who won therapy. The person who scheduled it.
Peter?
No, that's me.
Oh.
I found her and I scheduled her and I drove us there.
I liked her.
So I'm pretty sure I won therapy. There's no win or lose for therapy. You know what's really interesting about that statement?
What?
Let me tell you. You constantly accuse me of wanting to win a fight, and you walked out of therapy saying I won. And I'm constantly in our fight saying I don't want to win a fight. You're the one that's trying to win, and all you ever do is accuse me of fighting to win, and you walk out of therapy and go, I won. I'm sorry, who won the podcast if we're talking about winning? Who won? Was it me or was it you?
You definitely won the podcast.
100%. 100%.
You're an asshole.
I'm not an asshole.
Hey, what are we doing for dinner tonight?
I don't know. I'm not hungry. Are you?
I'm always hungry.
Nah.
What do you want to do?
Go home and eat? I don't know. What do you mean? We can talk about this after the
All right. Hey, to all the callers calling in. This isn't my show. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
To all the callers calling in. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for directing them mostly to me, since it's my I love watching him go, well, I'm here too. He's over to the side. I don't know if Halston, if you cut to it, but he always goes, I'm here too. What about me? I'm here too. Thank you for all your questions to me and Bert. Even though this wasn't started as a me and Bert podcast.
Oh, I don't have to do it. I just,
no.
I enjoyed it.
Well, you interrupted me. If you hadn't interrupted me, you would have heard what I had to say.
Fucking, if she hadn't gotten busted on interrupting me, this would not be an issue.
Winner, chicken dinner. Is that what we're saying? So this wasn't intended to be a me and you question answer podcast, but I think I quite like it, me and you. I'd rather just do it, me and you. So that
I like it.
Me
But
too.
but you can have other guests on. I think it would be cool for you to have Cody on, to have Sam on, or Sam and Cody.
Yeah.
To have anyone on. I think it's also a great way to do when you know, I don't know how your podcast release schedule is like, but if you got Fortune and you go, well, let's just do a question and answer. That's a fun way to be a guest.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's a cool way to do guests. And
we at Fortune, I had plenty to talk about.
Her special's so good.
Her special is so good.
All right, let's go down. I need a drink.
All right, thank you, baby.
I love you. I love you.
I love you too.
Love you to death.
I love you.
If you die, no one.
I believe it when I see it. Love you.